Welcome, everyone. Today we are talking with Shawn of Reggae Talk Podcast. Wagwan, me dupes.
There, I know Michaela. How are you going? It's a pleasure
So,
to be back.
of course, so Shawn is no stranger. I feel like he's going to be like our male voice of reason because he's the voice of reason on his podcast as well. So you guys make sure you guys check out that. And we have our executive producer, Kerry-Ann Reed Brown, Birdfoot Media, Carry On Friends. So we all love music and we have studied it from a perspective of just understanding the trends that are happening musically from an experience, as well as some of the trends that are kind of happening within music and around the music industry as a whole. So it was really interesting. So my idea for this podcast really came from a post that the Jamaica Star posted on Instagram initially, and then I read the story about Gyallis culture being canceled. So one thing is this whole cancel culture is a thing. So I get the play on words. But the idea of Gyallis culture being canceled is very interesting because we have noticed a lot of younger dancehall artists are tying the knot, especially Jamaica as a whole being stereotyped, especially, from a male perspective, of the bravado and having multiple women. It's kind of been a stereotype that has either been fed or we're kind of fighting against. So, we all kind of grew up in the 90s and understanding the music, and we're kind of listening to the 80s, growing up in the 90s, early 2000s. Like, there is a plethora of music. You can go way back in ideas from Shraba, Trella Luda Girls, Beanie Man, his big girls.
No
Galina Bongo, man.
The fact that we're all singing the same song in our head and out loud, like, yeah, all right. Uno in for a good conversation today. So really and truly, what are your thoughts on the idea of Gyallis culture being canceled? Is it canceled or has it just changed? Kerry, let me hear your thoughts.
When I saw the post, I was annoyed because I'm like, I don't think it's canceled. And if it is canceled, then make some music that reflects a cancel, right? Up here, girl over here, so girl over there, so you have your this, you that, like, I don't think it is. And if you're married, my thing has always been you make music to reflect some aspects are of what's happening in your life and what current, right? And then so at the time when I saw the text, Michaela Metella say, what I mean by this cancel, if everybody married and Gyallis culture cancel, then make some song when me can play in the car when me pitting them can listen to, instead of they tell somebody about bend over backwards, cock up foot this way. And I don't think it is. And Michaela, you were giving me your very logical music industry perspective. But then guess what? The next day, the Ed Sheeran remix with Chronics and Coffee, exactly what me I talk about. He want all on panny woman all night and bunny spliff, and want nobody else but the woman. If that song reflects like, yo, man, a Gyallis, man, a one burner. So that is how I feel about it. If Gyallis culture cancel because everybody are married, then let the diversity, let the change reflect in your music. If you go sing, say a bridge and them still have gal or whatever it is. But my ongoing struggle, Shawn, is this. Back in the day, me a dancehall tete. Me know a song, me know a dub plate, me know everything. But no, as a wife and a parent, I there's certain songs me can't play in the car. So if you say you're mature and married and all of these things, then make some music that reflect that growth. Right? So if you not make the music there, then guess what? The berries will forever run. Because I know so I can't play it on the car. I'm gonna have to worry, say the pit of them are gonna hear something that they shouldn't hear, especially since it's no longer suggestive and innuendo. The music is straight out pornographic, the words. That's just my thought. So I'm not think it cancel. I think they'll do whatever sells, but if it is canceled, diversify your music a little bit. Me not say stop sing about the girls then, but sing some song where show say you have love or you feel love or one woman I love you up, and me just not get that.
Yeah, man. So you want to hear my thoughts about this? All right. Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the generation turning over. It's a couple things that we have to factor into this whole dynamic of Gyallis culture being cancelled. No, first thing is first, Gyallis culture is not cancelled.
Thank you.
No way. It's a part. Gyallis culture is just Jamaican culture. It's just our way of living. I'm sorry, that's not cancelled. But guess what? No, let me tell you what's happening. What I see, I think social media has made the world very small, or technology rather. So we're able to see how other cultures live and how they interact with each other. And as it relates to our dancehall reggae artists, I noticed that they're very, very heavily influenced by other genres, especially urban culture, hip hop. If you notice, many of the hip hop artists, they've been getting hitched, and it's starting to become a trend.
Yeah.
So our artists, they're starting to realize that, and you touched on it earlier, they started to realize that, listen, you know what? Being married is really, really good for my brand and branding.
Mm-hmm.
People like to see stability, and it comes across better. Case in point, Idonia. Remember when Idonia was a dancehall artist? He was in trouble all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Guinness Buckler, Bosnaman, ZJ Wawa, this and that. His image, his brand came across very reckless.
Mm-hmm.
And then he meet what's her name? Kimberly Megan.
Yeah.
And then he met Kimberly Megan, and she pretty much kind of like changed his
softened him up a little
brand.
bit.
He became more refined, and he spoke about the music. Even his music got a little bit softer, more. He varied his songs more. So I think the whole technology aspect has allowed our artists to see how other cultures, other genres, and how they're interacting, how they're living, and they're starting to get wiser now, and they're starting to think from a business point of view. Jay and Beyonce, I mean, it goes on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
So, but as far as Gyallis culture, you know what the thing already.
Nah, cancel.
That
was a clickbait.
Yes, I agree, and there are some, I guess, kind of things that we have to unpack here.
Yeah.
So a lot of these artists, they're not young anymore. They're still youthful, but in reality, we're very close in age, right? In terms of how the era that they grew up in, and I think as a whole, I feel like there was a kind of shift in I think Gyallis culture, polygamy as a whole. I think, in my opinion, it's a rich man's thing. If you can have multiple women and take care of all of them, or vice versa, you have money, and them know them one another, and them all agree, say them have places in the line. Look at Rita Marley. She knew about these other women, but there's a clear line, a pecking order that was understood. So it's not always to me. I think if that is the idea that you want to represent, and that's what your thing is, I think when people know their place, they're happy with it, they're fine. And it's the same thing, because you can hear it even in a lot of the female songs is, oh yeah, me a wife, you a mate, know your place, no look upon me certain way when you see me road code. Well, you know what I mean?
But even still, we're having this conversation, right? And Michaela, thank you for going back to Baba and Rita, right? Because then I know, I think maybe it's not so much, it's the delivery in it, right? The Gyallis culture, because guess what? As you were talking about that, like Shawn said, Gyallis culture not done. We can go back to Bob days and say, I went Gyallis culture, right?
And this is before Bob. This is going back to African culture. The idea of having multiple women wasn't necessarily.
But even still, it's just how the delivery go. All right, Shawn, mega run the half pint. She run she all on and let go and pop. Say she affy stay. And even if like him a talk about in one bag of girl in the song, right?
Yeah.
But this whole him sing the song and deliver it, right? You know, go make you the rocker, say, yeah, man, this song is nice, but is you bring up the Bob May say, well, under the half pint song, the one I love singing, you know, he really I sing about the one bag of woman him have. But it's just how he delivers it in his song. Like, it's just, I don't know. And I think I guess I'm showing my age and my tolerance for certain music, but again, it comes across in how do you deliver the song? I mean, we talk about, you know, Barrister talk about steal people woman all the time, but the way him do it and he sing it and it sounds so sweet, you know?
It's more palatable.
Yes,
rather.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, man. Me love the half pint still.
Well, what I do recognize in this, you know, tying the knot kind of situation, what I am noticing with the younger, the newer generation is they're finding someone who is equally yoked and
absolutely
understands that lifestyle. So, you know, if you look at like Idonia and his wife, and Conscience and his wife, Ding Dong and his wife, you can see them partying in a party together. They go to carnival. They exude that same, you know, lifestyle of enjoying parties, enjoying, you know, going out. Like if you can enjoy the same things, it can work. And I think that's what they're kind of trying to highlight is the idea of finding a mate that, you know, a long time ago it was, oh, you got to get you a church girl and this, that, and the other. You need a nice, good, clean girl. And now that's not necessarily the case. You don't have to be as squeaky clean, and she can go along bad and is okay to kind of par with somebody who you can actually hold our vibes with.
Man, I think guys are smart enough. Like, they're getting wiser, and it's like having a two income household versus you're trying to foot all the bills. You know what I'm saying? It's a no-brainer. It makes sense in this day in this day and age to have someone where that person is pulling her weight and you're pulling your weight, and we come together as one and we just build an empire. I think that's the way. I mean, obviously you got to be in love, because these guys who are getting hitched, they've been in their relationship has been like long term. What is it? Ding Dong was with his lady for what, a decade. Conscience, he was with his lady for some time too, and everybody else. There's not no fly by night thing. You know what I say? I think it's a matter of branding and them saying that, yo, listen, let's do this. Let's manipulate the social media, because nowadays social media drives everything. And I could tell you for myself, because let me use myself as an example. You see, whenever a lot of people follow my account at Reggae Music Forever, people follow my account and people message me over and over, and they tell me they like that I put up my wife, they like that I put up my kids, and them like the whole package. They like the way how I present what I'm trying to do. You get what I'm saying? If I put up a picture by myself or whatever, trust me, it's not gonna be the same energy as I put up with my wife.
So let me ask you, do you think that would have been applied to me and Michaela? We are put up with husband and children, if that would apply, or is it appeal? Is it more attractive because you're a man and it comes from you that way?
I think
good question.
That's a great question. Maybe women, because women tell me all the time, oh, you know, I like how you love your wife, and I like how you embrace your wife and you show your wife off and all these things. I remember back in the days, you know, a man don't usually show his woman off. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I mean, think about before the social media. It's been around for a while now. It wasn't until in recent years you start to see a man put up a woman. Before that, a woman not a dark. Mm. Nowadays, even when I'm married, every day I'm on Instagram. Man and man with them little beef for 1 year or 2 years, you see them, I show them off. I show them off because guys realize that, listen, when we come together as one,